Welcome, friends, to Living Springs Retreat Live. I'm Scott Ritzema. I'm happy to be here with all of you. I love our online community. We gather together for a live experience. Today, the topic is diabetes, how to prevent, how to reverse diabetes, what kind of lifestyle factors are the greatest risk factors, or to incorporate into our lives, even to bring added blessings beyond the diabetes battle. So our guest is going to be Joshua from Restoration Diabetes on strategies to conquer diabetes. And Joshua has brought two more guests. So we're going to have a whole panel today to talk about diabetes. And of course, our sponsor, I know you guys have been banging down the doors to get these. These were a big hit at the live event last week in Ringgold, Georgia, the RevitaGuard throat spray. And check that out at the LSR store. But this one, I wanted to read what one of you guys wrote about the sinus, the Revita sinus. We frequently use these products, says this person. I can't say enough about Revita Sinus. I use it consistently for 24 to 36 hours, one of you said, when I know I've been around sick individuals or immediately after a trip, especially a plane trip. I use it along with RevitaGuard. This is they go in tandem. In those instances, it's a must keep in stock. And another person said, this product is a great natural alternative to other products like that on the market. I highly recommend. And speaking of the natural alternative, while you're there, try out the hands. This one's the lavender. There's the citrus, lots of nice scents there. And you support not just what we're doing here to make this possible, but you support your health because you boost your immunity with the Revita nasal spray and the throat spray. And then protect yourself from the oncoming onslaughts with the hand sanitizer. It's not alcohol-based, doesn't smell terrible. It smells actually very nice. So give those a try, and let us know what you think. We're collecting these 4.9 stars. I got hundreds of these reviews. I can't even read them all, but just a couple for you this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are around the world. It's 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Jeremy, bring up our guest. Joshua, let's introduce folks. Oh, we got all three of our guests all at once. You get to see them all. Joshua on the bottom right. And Joshua, I would like for you, if you wouldn't mind, introduce yourself a little bit, but then also introduce the two guests that you've brought with you, Dr. C.H.E.A.P and our friend on the bottom right now, Sonia. Could you tell us who we're going to be talking with today?
So I am Joshua, the founder and director for Restoration Healthcare. And we help people work towards naturally with lifestyle medicine and functional medicine. We try to help people remission their diabetes. And we are with me, Dr. C.H.E.A.P, and he has been for over 2 decades. He has been a cardiologist with Kaiser Permanente, but he took a voluntary retirement. He is tired of prescribing medications. He wants to take people out of medications. So he has actually worked in VMAR, and he is actually saw the mission, and he wanted to volunteer and partner in this work in spreading the health and wellness. And we have Miss Sonia, and Dr. C.H.E.A.P travels around the world, and he's a great hiker, and constantly he is just hiking somewhere. But Miss Sonia San, she is actually very, very interested in lifestyle medicine, and she's a faculty of lifestyle medicine, and she has a deep interest and educational voice. And she's also a great surfer. And any day you see a holiday, she was always there on the beach and asking us, can you come? Do you want to come and join us? And she's a great, passionate person. So we are so glad that we could be here. And I actually had my work in India, and I moved here recently to US and starting my work here. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Joshua, you're the founder and director of this organization. Jeremy, do put that QR code so folks can follow what Joshua's work over there, and just tell us a little bit about how you got into this. And by the way, I should mention, Sonia, Dr. C.H.E.A.P, I will go hiking with you, doctor, every day of the week. It's going to be tough to get me surfing, though, Sonia. I just like standing sideways on a skateboard or a surfboard or anything sideways. I've always not been too coordinated with that, but I love to hike. Will you go hiking with Dr. C.H.E.A.P and I?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, just to say, in Hawaii, we have lots of amazing hiking trails.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you've got me with Hawaii. I've been there. I've been to the Big Island and just was captivated by the beauty of God's creation there. And, you know, you guys are going to talk to us about lifestyle factors and disease risk mitigation and reversal. And I have a sneaky suspicion you're going to recommend an active lifestyle, certain types of exercise. Maybe we'll wait keep folks in suspense on that. But I did want to ask Joshua, how did you get into this?
Sure. I actually, it's a story. Like I used to be a Hindu. I came up from a Hindu background. I'm supposed to die in my mother's womb, and my father was like a priest in a Hindu temple, and they tried every possible way to help me get better. So they went to many best hospitals there. My father did all the rituals for him to um, somehow get us back our life. And my mom got also boils all over her body, and I was in my mother's womb, and the doctors told me I cannot able to survive. So at that time, my father was thinking he doesn't know what to do. He tried all the medical system. He tried all the spiritual beliefs that he believed. He did like pilgrimage to long journeys and fasted for many days, but nothing helped him. Finally, they thought maybe it's a witchcraft. So my grandfather took my mom to a place where they removed the witchcraft, and as they were doing that, they couldn't help. The body was swelling, and my mom was ready to die. At that moment, my father was in the home going through his bookshelf. He saw the Bible there. One of his friends gave him while he was in the college. So he thought, maybe why don't I try this? He took the Bible and he opened it. He couldn't believe the words that came was Songs of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 13, where it said, come back, O Solomon, come back, I may see you. So Solomon calling his wife. So finally, my father thought, maybe I don't know whether I could see my wife, but this verse is personally talking to me. He knelt down and prayed, and immediately at the very moment, my mom got healed.
Wow.
And nothing short of a miracle would have really brought us to Christianity or changed the religion, because it is very staunch in the family. And even after this, we went through a lot of persecution to hold. So I believe that definitely if Jesus would live here, he would be healing and teach healing and helping people. So that is exactly one of the core reason why we wanted to do it. And God opened the door for me to go in Wildwood and study there for to learn those experiences, as I could see how so many people could be able to get better with their health with simple natural remedies. And that is why I started doing this work.
Wow, Joshua, that is a beautiful testimony. And, Jesus did spend more time healing than preaching, didn't he?
Exactly.
And that's why folks have heard me say this before. Email me, scottritzema@gmail.com, and I want to send you a book called The Ministry of Healing. Don't hesitate. It's a free gift. I will mail it to you, scottritzema@gmail.com. And you'll hear more about Jesus' healing ministry in Galilee 2,000 years ago, as well as health principles, a lot of which you're going to hear in this interview as well. Sonia, you do lifestyle medicine, a professor of lifestyle medicine. I've heard that this is the fastest growing field in medicine today. And why is this the case? And what drives you in the lifestyle medicine field?
Well, I'm a diplomat. I've been working as an occupational therapist now going on my 41st year from Loma Linda, and I had been dealing with chronic illnesses over the last, my whole career. And I realized that if we headed out at the pass, we don't have to deal with the amputations and the neuropathies and the many obesity, cardiac, all those issues that I'm dealing with to rehab. We can, if we intervene earlier, there's a greater level of impact and you can really make a difference. So that's why I got into lifestyle medicine. The reason it's growing is because it's so satisfying. People get better. So it is the fastest growing subgroup of specialty in medicine as well as healthcare professionals.
Well, I don't know if it's the Hawaiian sunshine you guys get year round or just the great attitude of Hawaiian people, but you guys all look so healthy and happy. And when Sonia tells me she's been doing something for 41 years other than being alive, maybe, I'm going, okay, this lifestyle works. And that's not flattery, that's fact. Everybody's looking at her going, how's she been doing work for 41 years? I mean, just praise God, it really works. And we're gonna, Dr. Wai-Chi, if you don't mind, Sonia has to leave pretty shortly. So I want to really lean on your medical expertise in the latter part of the interview. And at this point, before we lose Sonia, Joshua, what questions would you like to ask? You've brought Sonia here as a real expert in this lifestyle medicine area. Pose a question to her if you wouldn't mind.
So, Ms. Sonia, can you just explain what lifestyle factors that really affects, and maybe in relation to diabetes and mental health? Can you just go ahead and just share what you would like to share?
Sure. What I'll do is just briefly cover over the pillars of lifestyle medicine and how that impacts diabetes. First of all, 1 in 3 Americans are pre-diabetic. And the interesting thing is 90% of them don't even know they have diabetes, which is incredible to me. And there are many things that we can do to reverse that. So also another 90%, so 90% don't know they have diabetes, and 90% of those people with diabetes have type 2 diabetes, which is reversible. So one of the first things we look at is the whole plant-based foods. So I have an avocado to show you. These are the size of avocados we grow here in Hawaii. One of the best things you can do is add whole plant-based foods to your food. If you can get it locally sourced, that's even better. Many people think, oh, I can't eat an avocado, or I'll just eat a little piece. Well, that is not the fact, because avocados decrease fat, increase your blood sugar stabilization. They're high in fiber and high in many nutrients. So I'll just briefly go over with whole plant-based foods. Things you can do is, instead of doing white bread, you can do whole wheat bread. So we're looking at whole plants. Instead of doing white flour tortillas, regular corn tortillas. This is something unique to the islands. This is Spam. So Spam, you can even get Spam at McDonald's here. So Spam is high in saturated fats. There isn't any fiber in it, high in sodium. Or you could do tofu, which is a whole plant-based food, really great for blood sugar stabilization, no fat. So another thing we can look at is, when you're looking at comparing with whole plant-based foods, just to give you an idea, most breakfast cereals are just candy bars. But if you're wanting something sweet, something like dates would be a great substitute, because they're also high in fiber and whole plant-based foods. And then probably the biggest thing that contributes to diabetes here on the island, and maybe in America in general, are drinks, are high sugar drinks. So sodas, something like this, has 77 grams of sugar, which is a ridiculous amount. If you divide that by 4, that's how many teaspoons of sugar there are. So whole plant-based foods, that's one of the tenets. The other one is physical activity. We can look at how to exercise, when to exercise to increase your blood sugar stabilization. So some very simple principles. We can chat about that if you would like. We'll cover that over in the 30-day challenge. Stress management also affects blood sugar. Sleep is a huge factor in blood sugar as well. As both stress and sleep, they're kind of related. Another thing would be the social connections, just positive social connections. And the last area, which is not to be underestimated, is avoidance of risky substances. So all those work together for lifestyle medicine that can help correct and reverse diabetes.
You know, when you mentioned, Sonia, the social connection, I was thinking that is also related to stress, isn't it? And exercise is related to stress. And the amount of sleep you get is related to stress. So I think that some of these non-food factors are underestimated when people are having these lifestyle conversations. The diet is huge. You showed us those. Thank you for sharing those. But I did have a question about the foods. I've heard about diabetes is about carbs and sugar, and I noticed that on your Here's the Better option, you didn't just have meat, dairy, and eggs over there. You were showing, whole grains, corn, beans with the tofu product. What's the thinking behind the whole plant foods solution to diabetes, as opposed to avoidance of all carbohydrates, or mostly
Yeah.
avoidance of carbohydrates?
Yes. So that is a great question. And there's so much misunderstanding in avoidance of carbohydrates. So what you're really looking for, you actually do need carbohydrates. That's the food that gives you energy. What you're looking for is the simple carbohydrates, the ones that are from plants versus the ones that are manufactured that you get out of a box. And Dr. C.H.E.A.P will go into detail on how that affects insulin resistance. But they found that the people who eat more whole carbohydrates from whole plants, they have better sugar stabilization than those that don't. So temporarily, some people will go the keto diet, and Dr. C.H.E.A.P can go into why that kind of tricks people into thinking it's effective, but it actually increases your insulin resistance.
I'm very interested in hearing more on that in a few minutes after you leave, Sonia. But you did whet our appetite for more on the exercise front. You said the kinds of exercise, the time of the day. Can you optimize your exercise in order to mitigate your type 2 diabetes risk?
Yeah, perfect. One of the things we're looking, simple walking about 30 minutes a day. So having regular exercise is really important. Ideally, if you can exercise even 10 minutes after you eat, that will help with your blood sugar stabilization. Yesterday, I was at a patient's home who has diabetes, and her diabetes in the morning with her glucose check is always really high. It's like just under 200, which is still too high, even when it's controlled, even when it's treated with um, insulin. She's a type 2 diabetic, by the way. And I'd asked her, why do you think that is? What did you eat? What's your lifestyle like? And she said, well, I eat supper and then I watch TV for the rest of the day, for the rest of the evening in bed. So she doesn't walk. So we set a goal that she would either do a little bit of resistance exercises, a little bit of deep breathing using her arms, and or a little bit of walking 5 to 10 minutes. And we'll
Excellent.
see. We'll recheck if she does. So after you eat is ideal.
Excellent. Joshua, comment on the various things that you've heard from Sonia so far, and then feel free to ask another question of her before we lose her.
So definitely, it's actually there are so many studies that we can actually share and explain how these things are affected. Even though it is whole grain, not all whole grains are same. You get a whole grain, and then that is actually they make cereal with whole grain, and not all whole grains are same. That is still processed and done all these things. The quality of carbohydrate that you choose is so vital. And I've seen so many diabetics that just think that, okay, taking a low carb diet is going to solve the problem. And I think that's actually a very important that Ms. Sonia mentioned. Ms. Sonia, can you explain also the lifestyle medicine principle of how it is addressing the root cause, and why the band-aid aspect is not going to work, and they need to address the root cause of the disease to make it happen for cure any disease?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Joshua. Yeah, so the interesting thing is when you're looking at treating the symptoms of high blood sugar, that's usually with it's a variety of medications that are given, metformin, insulin, a variety of medications. So they're looking at currently the person that's getting that medication has insulin resistance, and when they eat, the insulin that they're using in their body does not is not enough to keep the blood sugar stable, so they add medication. And the problem with that is you continue to add medication and you're not going to get better. You can manage, if you're lucky, the symptoms with close monitoring and a lot of cost. Or the other option is you can look at addressing the cause for why you have insulin resistance, like take, for example, sleep. why you have if you have sleep issues and you're not sleeping well, it'll change your hormonal level so that you're hungrier. When you don't sleep well, you're hungrier. So there's different hormones that happen in your body, the ghrelin and leptin, the two different hormones. The ghrelin increases, which increases your appetite, and the leptin also decreases, which helps you feel more full. So when you don't sleep well, you're hungry, you're going to eat more. So when you address the sleeping issues, then you can address the hormonal issues, then which then can help you manage your weight and your appetite.
So it is a complete holistic approach that not one change can be weaker. So you need to work on the whole person perspective so that you get a complete healing and experience the fullness of health.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So you're actually healing the roots. Yes, that's right. You're healing the root cause of what has created that diabetes, and then that allows you to have an optimal health and a better quality of life.
Well, Sonia, leave us with, before you run, I know you're a busy person, leave us with a last thought that we didn't get to.
Okay. All right. So the last thought is how important it is to love people, how important it is to love God, how important it is to love others. Oftentimes we think, well, you got to stop smoking, which is true. You know, smoking is not good for your health. And it's something that is difficult to deal with. And if it's dealt with, it'll improve your health. But even more than stopping smoking is having social connections. So they found that research shows that you live longer, better life if you have more social connections than even if you smoke. And I've seen that in my home health visits time and time again. People can live horrible lifestyles. Their house smells like smoke. You think, how is this person even still living after all these years? And they have great social connections and they have a great quality of life. So instead of looking at what to take away, look at what can you add. And if you can add time with your friends, time to love people, that's going to impact your health more than anything else.
Oh, I love that perspective. That is beautiful. And thank you for joining us, Sonia. And we love the full atmosphere with the chickens in the background and all of that. That's just lovely.
So you can
We can hear them, and they make us feel like we're there with you. So, well, we'll say bye to you, and thank you for being a part of this program.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for allowing us to share.
Yes, God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Now, Dr.
Thank you.
You've heard a lot. Does this actually work, what she's talking about?
Yes, certainly. Well, as you know, I used to work at Kaiser Permanente for 20-some years as a cardiologist, so you can understand that I've been taking care of lots of sick patients, very sick patients in the ICU, whatever. And these people have not much quality of life because of their unhealthy lifestyle. And so talking about the root causes of disease, we need to understand how important healthy lifestyle is. And I had the opportunity working as a substitute physician at WIMA Institute in California. And that's when I first appreciate the beauty of lifestyle medicine and how important and how meaningful it is as a modality to prevent diseases and to reverse diseases. And so later I'll be talking about the causes of type 2 diabetes, because you guys mentioned about carbohydrate, about sugar, and kind of emphasize on carbohydrate. But I want you to understand the reasons plant-based diet, it is so important as a tool to reverse type 2 diabetes, because you avoid what is causing insulin resistance, and that is saturated fat. So it is not only sugar. In fact, sugar is not the major cause. The major cause is saturated fat. And then we'll come to understanding what insulin resistance is. And this understanding would have us change our lifestyle. And so if, Joshua, if you want me to start talking about insulin resistance, I can start here. Otherwise, I would just answer your questions
Joshua,
first.
do you have any comments? I'm happy to hear him roll right into it, but any insights you have as well?
Yeah, sure. I think that is pretty good. I think he can just go ahead with the explanation of insulin resistance because of the shortness of time that we have. Maybe later, I'm going to share some very important principle, how we are going to give you some amazing opportunity for people to, many people do not know where to start. They know what to do sometimes, but they don't know where to start. We are going to give you some ideas and principles, strategy that can able to help you. So wait till the end.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll look forward to that from you, Joshua, the how-to and the strategies. But that was just kind of a mic drop moment there from Dr. Y.G., where he's like, actually, it's fat, and particularly he's naming saturated fat. And so, you know, I think we sometimes get these wars between the low carb, and then it's like, well, meat, dairy, eggs, and a bunch of oil are going to be a great alternative because there's a bunch of junk sugar and junk refined carbs on the market. And so, you know, you swing from this to that, and maybe actually it's a combination of both. That's the problem. A bunch of fat and a bunch of bad carbs. And I'm speaking out of my lane here. I want to hear Dr. Y.G., if you wouldn't mind explaining to us that insulin resistance, the science behind that you were about to share.
Okay, let's start. So we all know insulin is a hormone secreted by the pancreas. Its main function is to carry glucose into cells, particularly fat cells, muscles, and liver, to synthesize energy to enable all our mental and physical activities. But to carry glucose into cells, insulin needs to go through the insulin receptors on cells. Is this insulin receptor just like doors? You can imagine that every cell is like a spherical house with many doors and windows. These doors and windows are insulin receptors. If these receptors or door and windows are plugged or blocked by saturated fat, then insulin cannot open these doors or windows to push glucose inside the house or inside the cells to do what it's supposed to do. And so blood glucose stay high in the bloodstream. The pancreas reacts to elevated blood sugar by secreting more and more insulin. As a result, the concentration of both insulin and glucose are elevated in the bloodstream. So it's not only a high blood sugars that cause all these adverse health effects, but the elevated high insulin blood level that cause a lot of harms. And persistently elevated insulin level would cause fat metabolism deregulation. It also causes fat cells to expand. In addition, it causes low-grade inflammation all over the body. And the worst thing is, it contributes to the damage and dysfunction of the inner lining of blood vessels. When the blood vessel of the whole circulatory system is damaged and dysfunctional, and that's all kinds of cardiovascular disease, cerebral vascular disease, renal vascular disease, peripheral vascular disease, and retinal vascular disease occurred. And so the culprit is saturated fat. Now, certainly, too much junk sugar is going to contribute to it, but it's going to take much longer time to a point that your body cannot carry blood sugars into cell because of too much demand and not enough supply. But if you plug the insulin receptors with saturated fat, then you're going to get to become type 2 diabetic much faster. Oh, so that's the concept that I want you guys to understand. And if you understand this, then you'll see the beauty of plant-based diet. A diet free of saturated fat. And that is the cornerstone of the diet pillar of preventing and reversing type 2 diabetes. And I would also like to mention, type 2 diabetes is associated with a lot of metabolic diseases, especially the metabolic syndrome that we all heard about. And the 5 components of metabolic syndrome is central obesity, is hypertriglyceridemia, hypertension, and low HDL, as well as prediabetes. And these have the underlying cause, which is insulin resistance. I can't hear you.
Sorry, muted myself. Joshua, what do you make of all that? I mean, this is profound medical science. This is reality. It's not well accepted yet. Comments on that?
So I think Dr. Dean Ornish did a study of having people, two groups of people. One people took sugar diet, and other people took normal fat diet, high fat diet, and the sugar. Where at the end of the study, you wouldn't believe that everyone that ate the fat in 3 weeks, they were pre-diabetic, high fat diet, and the people that ate the sugar at the end of 3 weeks, none of them were even pre-diabetes. I mean, the moral of the story is not that you can eat more sugar, but the problem is the more than the sugar, it's the fat that actually causing the diabetes. So that's why plant-based diet, the whole grain plant-based diet is actually the best in helping reverse this condition.
So let me ask, either of you guys can take this. If I was to set out to eat a whole plant food diet that's like 75% complex carbohydrates from whole plant sources, this is kind of demonized out there as being too many carbs. I mean, obviously 75% of your diet coming from carbs would be sounding radical to our culture at the moment. Could you get diabetes eating whole plant food diet that's 10 or 15% fat, 10 or 15% protein, 75% whole or carbohydrates, quality carbohydrates? Is that going to give you diabetes?
So
now let me answer this. It is very unlikely to give you type 2 diabetes, but 75% complex carbohydrate, even this is a healthy carbohydrate, is an unbalanced diet. And so you have to have the right pyramid of diet, meaning you need to have a balanced diet to be healthy. Because 75% complex carbohydrate, you're not to get all the essential nutrients appropriately or ideally to be healthy. And so what we emphasize is not just one or another, it's a holistic, it's a whole body approach. When it comes to diet, it got to be a balanced diet. When it comes to lifestyle, it got to be a balanced lifestyle.
I like that answer. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Yeah. I didn't think you were going to say it's going to cause type 2 diabetes, but I did give you an extreme example there. Joshua, do you want to comment on that or shift into another element to discuss here?
Yeah, maybe I would like to share, because as people are watching right now, they may be having a question. I would like to share my screen. Maybe having a question, how does this work? So our program, is it okay that if I just go ahead with this?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. So I would like to share that the way that we work is there are 5 principles how our program works. And first thing is having a healthy mindset, because when you believe on something that it will not work, it definitely is not going to impact you that much. Even though I think the previous episode that you have, You talked about how the positive mindset has an impact. If you believe that this is not going to work, it's not going to work. Many people believe, oh, my parents are diabetic, so I am destined to have diabetes, so I don't think I can do anything about it. No, we have clients that are both of their parents died of diabetes, and the client, he was taking more than 100 units of insulin for 27 years. I mean, 100 units is the maximum a person can take for to be a diabetic, right? On insulin. Now, in just 45 days, he was off insulin, he was off all medications, and he was completely, he could able to reverse his condition. So I think it is an effective approach. We can see how a healthy mindset, and we do this by, of course, presenting evidences and methods. You can see my screen. It looks like. Do you see my presentation?
Not yet.
Oh,
there it is. Well, there is something. That's not it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's all right.
Okay. So I think so. The second thing that we address, the healthy mindset is very important. The second thing that we address is addressing the root cause of the disease. So hopefully, do you see the presentation now?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So addressing the root cause of the disease. That is what you know, when you go in a house, and if the kitchen sink is, the tap is open and the sink is blocked and the water is running over, what do you do first? You know, we instead of taking a cloth and just mopping the floor, first thing that we need to do is close the tap and then remove the blockage, and then you cleanse. Yeah, so that is the process that we work in helping. And so we do a thorough in-depth blood analysis, and then we have actually in-depth questionnaire, and then we will customize the program based on them, and then we will help the nature to assist in our lifestyle, so that it can able to bring the healing that we need. And definitely along through the line, as Ms. Sonia said, the selfless care and the supportive, compassionate care is very, very important in this process as well. And then the main thing is, many people may, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So many people think it is very, they know things what to do, but it is very difficult for them to implement the things that they know that they need to do. So we use the principle of like atomic habits, like how you can build habits that are sustainable, that becomes part of your lifestyle. So it's not that you are getting better when you are in the lifestyle center for 10 days, 21 days, or being in the program. Even when you leave the program, this is a principle that keeps you going and continuously helps you get better. So this is the 5 approach that we have, so that people have all the support that they need from the medical professional, from the health coach, and all of them, so that they could actually get better. And this is actually our QR code, where people can able to book a free consultation with us. It is a diabetes breakthrough consultation, where they can bring their blood report, and we can actually go through this, so that they can talk to us one-on-one. And the main thing that I want to offer today is this amazing offer. That is, we know that people want to live healthy, but they don't know where to start. Do you know where to start? It starts from the time that they go for shopping, from the pantry makeover, right? How we can replace from the pantry, from the bottom phase. This is a 30-day program that we are going to offer today in a very, very economical, and it is, if we want to give it so that people would just experience this. The first phase is actually the preparation for the 30-day challenge. And then the second phase is also preparing the mindset towards the 30-day challenge. And then the reset, that is where the detox will go on from day 1 until day 30. And then it goes on. We give you the menu plan, grocery shopping list, and we have a group coaching chatting option. Anytime if you go for a shopping, oh, you don't know what to buy, you just take a picture and send it in the group. One of our health professionals will just guide you towards, oh, what is best and what they need to do and things like that. So we want to give this because of this live stream, for this program, we want to give this for $100 discount just for $97, and they could even get to speak to one of our coach one-on-one in this as well. So this is a great opportunity I would like to share.
Well, thank you for that. So that's the totality of your slides there, huh, Jeremy? You can put us all back regular.
That's
yeah. I think you might have gotten people with a shopping list and a meal plan and a coach that can help you. I think that might be what's holding back a lot of people, and to provide that care and that service, compared to medical bills. I mean, I can't say that that's not worth it. It certainly is to get us moving. As I think also about the other lifestyle factors, do you give coaching along those lines in addition to the dietary choices and meal planning and shopping?
Yes, actually, it's of course, as we told you, it also comes with the exercise plan and for the 30 days, and we want to continue provide the support. We want to just give them a good start with this. And once, I mean, any people with this 30-day challenge, we have seen people that have struggled with bloating and digestion problem and hypertension, and even people that have vision problem. We can see many people, their eyesight has become much better, and it was amazingly interesting for us to just know. But anyway, there are many people just instead of having overwhelming of all that I need to do, I don't know where to start, what to begin. This is just a beginning where they can start.
Excellent. And one of the questions in the chat is, how do we sign up for the program he just mentioned for the $97? Jeremy, if you wouldn't mind putting that QR code up again. And then there's another question that, if I could direct this one to Dr. C.H.E.A.P. Somebody's mentioning fasting as a way to deal with type 2 diabetes. And the person in the comments called it, or in the chat, referred to prolonged fasting. So I'm curious about your take on that, as well as on the intermittent fasting as a regular daily cycle and routine.
Well, fasting is very effective. It's one of the tools we use to effectively reverse type 2 diabetes. And so one of the approaches is to fast for 3 days. If you're obese, you have enough to bear with 3 days of fasting without food. And then you can see the immediate, amazing effects of fasting for 3 days. And then all of a sudden, your insulin resistance goes down tremendously. After 3 days, you the body's inflammation goes down also remarkably. And during this fasting, you can kind of forget about your taste buds, kind of forget about the taste of the junk foods, McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, whatever that you used to, and to replace by the plant-based diet. And if this can be followed by a daily fasting, meaning if you can just eat 2 meals a day, and you have these 2 meals within 6 to 8 hours period of time, and so the other time of the day, you're in a fasting kind of condition. It's kind of a relative daily fasting. And that is one of the tools we use to drastically, or in a short period of time, reverse type 2 diabetes. But in our program, my understanding is we're not using this drastic approach. And this approach needs to be supervised, because the complication of severe hypoglycemia can be catastrophic. And so you need to have a setting in which you're being supervised to do that. But to answer your question, fasting is one of the very effective tools to reverse type 2 diabetes.
Excellent, excellent, and including that intermittent fasting, which is that needed for supervision also, or is supervision needed for eating 2 meals a day and not eating after 3 p.m. or something like that until the next morning? Prolonged fasting, certainly we need to take care with that. What kind of precautions are needed for the shorter duration daily fast if somebody wants to try an intermittent fasting or time restricted eating plan?
Now, let me say this. If you fast 1 day a week, you don't need supervision. Your body can do it, and you are unlikely to go into complication. And if you just do 2 meals a day, you don't need supervision. Your body can take it. It's the prolonged 3 days fasting that require supervision. Otherwise, potential complication can occur.
I can vouch for both. I've done both. The 3-day fast. If you can get a chance to do that safely, folks, give it a chance. Give it some prayer and thought, and definitely the daily. Our family, the whole family, went on the 2-meal plan. Mm-hmm. We have an 8 o'clock breakfast and a 2 o'clock or so dinner, and we all go to bed early, so and you get used to. Okay, I don't need to have a belly full of food when I lay down to go to sleep at night. At first, you're like, well, come on, I got to eat. And a lot of people do very well having a light supper. I mean, not right before their bed time, but, a light supper a few hours before you go to sleep. So it's not to say you can't succeed on a 3-meal plan, right, guys? But that 2-meal is even better for trying to reverse this, huh? Yes, go ahead, Joshua.
So
yes.
Many people that do intermittent fasting, they have told me what, they skip the breakfast and they eat towards lunch and supper. Even when people do intermittent fasting, the best thing is not to skip the breakfast. Breakfast is a very vital part of the meal that they need to take part of it. And the lunch can be maybe later after 3, and then they can fast. That is actually the best way to do the intermittent fasting.
Awesome. So tell me about people who you guys know who've applied these principles. Can you share somebody's story, somebody's testimonial that this way really works? Implementing a good quality sleep and exercise program and whole plant food diet, eating at the right times, the right quality and quantity of food, stress, connection, love, all the things. You guys have built this picture for us of a super vibrant, healthy lifestyle, and it works. But share with us somebody's experience on it.
So one person that I could just share is, there are a couple, but I think there are some video testimonials in our website as well. But maybe one person that I can share is Miss Maxine. She has been a diabetic for, many years from the very early in her life, because she claims herself she's a foodie. And then she has been taking 80 units of insulin. When she joined our program, she said, diet is very difficult for me to do, and I can do it. So she joined our program. But we followed and we helped her, and just couldn't believe, in just a little smaller changes in 1 month, she is off insulin. And then, but of course, we don't take anybody off medication or insulin. We work with their own PCP. We give them the letter that's what they need to show and get approved, and they see with their PCP, and then they come to us once they approved, and then we start the program. When these changes she made, the PCP was just like, what did you do? Can you able to share your meat plan to me? More than 4 pages of medication, completely taken out. Only the supplements and pain medication and breathing medication, completely taken out. She was much vibrant, and she lost 30 pounds in 40 days. And then she has been it has been like more than 8 months now. She is still off insulin, and she even told me last month when we are in touch with her, because they come to the church, and they are very, very amazing, their health condition is. And one other person, she joined our program because she had suffered from neuropathy. She's a 90-year-old And she did our program in just 3 weeks. We have Miss Tracy in Big Island, and she goes there and she does the treatment in the feet contrast bath, and in just 3 weeks, more than 80, I think 70 to 80% of the pain has been relieved. And she has never felt like that. She couldn't even wear her clothes by herself because she couldn't be able to raise her arm. So in just 3 weeks, she could able to find a difference in just making simple changes through this method.
Oh man, that's so encouraging. And just the pain and suffering that so many are experiencing unnecessarily,
Yes.
just for lack of contact with men like you, women like Sonia, caring people who say, let's try this. There's
Yeah.
a better way. And
Yeah.
you can do this. And to receive that encouragement and to have that person just giving you the step by step, holding your hand along the way. Because we, sometimes we come from difficult circumstances and
Mm-hmm.
things have happened in our lives, and we find ourselves in this pit of, frankly, addiction to ultra processed food and various forms of junk food. And to hear you guys hope for people, it's not some pipe dream. It's an actual scientific reality testified by many people who are experiencing it.
Yes.
I saw another question in the chat. Or no, this wasn't a question. I wanted to comment on this one. Dakota says Dave's Killer Bread contains canola oil. Now we're not sponsoring or critiquing any particular brand. Oh, there he is. We're just a platform here, so not anything against Dave. He seems like a nice guy, and they're trying to do their best there. But our family did move on from bread brands of various kinds. I'm speaking carefully here, in favor of, when you can, baking your own bread. Literally, my son just pulled a loaf of bread out today. We're homeschooled, we get that privilege of having some extra time to do things like that. And it's just, it tastes better. It's more nutritious. You know what's in it. But yeah, if you guys want to comment on the seed oils, canola oil, I know that's a lot of talk these days. If you want to comment on that, but maybe also take this question, and we can do both of those. Clarice asks, is sourdough bad, specifically on the weight loss front? But you could wrap that into the diabetes question as well. Just your general opinion of sourdough bread and or comment on the seed oils.
Okay. So I think sourdough bread, not necessarily, I think it's bad for weight loss, but the thing is, any bread, eating it fresh immediately after the oven is not actually the best. And usually we like the bread that is just fresh and smells nice, but they need to avoid at least 24 hours for the yeast to die. And for
Joshua,
people especially, go ahead.
I just got to interrupt you because we literally had this conversation today. I'm like, I want to eat it. I want to eat it. I always want it right. And my son is like, no, Dad, you got to wait 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay. So definitely, I think it is important to just at least wait. Dr. Waichi, you have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, there's a saying, there is a saying, the whiter the bread, the sooner you're dead. And so sourdough is kind of considered white. What I would encourage everyone is to eat complex carbohydrate type of bread. The wheat bread, the 21 grain, that kind of bread would be better.
Yes, whole grains. Yeah, Joshua, comments on that.
Yeah, and the best thing, as you said, is definitely making your home bread, which is not complicated. What we do in the 30-day challenge on Sundays or something, we open like a focus blocks, we open the Zoom and everybody cook together over the Zoom. So just 1 week, we just cook granola. We tell them all the recipes that they need to get and just be ready and just cook along with us. So things like that. So it is encouraging to do it together,
Nice. And you guys must be the most popular teachers on diabetes because you're not taking away everybody's, grains. And these are supposedly these demonized foods, but you're actually seeing success by applying the use of whole grains. And of course, you got fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, those kinds of things, as well as your whole plant food categories, right?
Yes, definitely.
Hey, Scott, I would like to add to the answer to your question earlier. Even though our program is focused on plant-based diet, but we do have lectures on other aspects or other pillars of lifestyle medicine. So we do talk about the importance of exercise and what types of exercise, etc., as well as sleep hygiene, stress reduction, social connection, and avoidance of harmful substances that could contribute to
Give
type
us
2
some
diabetes.
tips on sleep. We heard a little from Sonia on exercise. Eat, exercise after your meal, go for a digestion walk. Our family does that as well. So we heard a little on exercise, and even just walking, right? But I want to hear, you said sleep hygiene. Explain that and explain how to get good quality sleep. I can hear from both of you on this.
Okay. Well, Joshua, you want to go first? You want me to go first? Okay. All right. Now, sleep is so important as a tool to reverse type 2 diabetes because the insulin resistance will go down with good quality sleep, meaning you will increase your insulin sensitivity because during sleep, there's a lot of endocrine regulations that will be going on while you are resting. And in addition to other important health aspect of a good quality sleep. And when we talk about sleep hygiene as to how to improve our sleep quality, there are certain things that we can do or suggest, including your state of mind 2 hours before you go to sleep, off screen time, no TV, no iPhone, etc. Relax yourself and keep your room cool and also dark as possible. And this would all increase the secretion of melatonin. And the melatonin is an important hormone that helps us to achieve better quality sleep. So we'll be talking about this so-called sleep hygiene. Don't do your exercise, don't eat your meal, too close to sleep time, etc. Like 4 hours at least. Give yourself 4 hours to digest all your food before you go to bed, and how to relax yourself, set your mind for sleep, etc.
Absolutely. And I'd add not a bunch of stimulating media in the evening, as you guys know, one of my specialties there. Joshua, if you want to comment on sleep, you can, but we do have another question as well. Are cherry, I don't know what those are. Are they a cause of diabetes?
Cause of diabetes?
Yeah. Cherry angiomas. That's a new one to me. Sorry, revealing my ignorance.
Well,
maybe none of us know what that. I mean, cherries.
It's
can we
not.
just go with cherries?
I will tell you.
Go ahead, Dr. White.
Just cherries?
Well, cherry angioma is relatively benign, but it is abnormal. And even though diabetes affects all types of blood vessels, I mean, in fact, it affects the whole circulatory system. All the blood vessels in your body is affected. But this cherry angioma is not part of the diabetic complications.
Okay, and it has nothing to do with cherries. Sorry, I was off on. Can I eat cherries?
Yeah.
By the way, Dr. Wai-Chi, Jeremy, can you take a short clip of Dr. Wai-Chi earlier saying that your nighttime bedroom temperature should be cool? Because I want to take that clip, and my wife and I, we have the temperature wars in our home over, and I'm on the cooler side. So I think I've got some evidence to make my case. But, also you said completely dark, and we sometimes use one of those masks that covers the eyes. Then it's totally, I mean, with the room is dark, but, it's even more dark from the light in the kitchen on the oven shining through the door or whatever, So those are good principles. And I've heard, you guys tell me if this is right, that for every hour of sleep that you get before midnight, the quality of that is literally double that of hours of sleep that you get later in the night into the morning. and the late hours of the morning it's just not as good a sleep as before midnight, twice as good a sleep, right? As far as melatonin production.
Yeah. Actually,
Yes.
in the middle of the night, midnight is when our hormones are secreted to go and clean up all the areas of our brain and the body that needs to fix repair. So when you do not actually sleep in the when you're not in the deep sleep in the midnight, that comes only after 2 hours after you sleep. You go to that stage, fourth stage of the sleep. That is when the hormones are secreted to go and help and fix all the body cells. But when you do not sleep by that time, when you skip the midnight, the hormones is not secreted. That is the reason many people that wake up in the morning and still feel tired and not refreshed, and they are dragging through the day. So it is very vital for us to go at least by 10, so that they can be by 12, they can go to the fourth stage of sleep. That takes more than an hour and a half to get to that stage. And that is very vital. That is why it is very important it is equivalent to like 2 hours of sleep after midnight.
Well, we've gotten a lot of good tips. Jeremy, do we have any other questions that I missed? Because we're going to have to wrap up pretty shortly here, and we could answer anybody's questions. But go ahead, Joshua, while we're waiting.
And I think some people did mention about again, they posted about the bread, the sourdough bread. Definitely, it's much better than the regular bread, because it does have a better digestion and blood sugar control. It has actually very good nutrition absorption. So it is okay, but I think it is better to wait wherever the yeast is used. It is better to wait for 24 hours before you can take part of the bread. And I saw that.
Excellent. Yeah, that's helpful. And Jeremy did put that person up asking for the that one we addressed earlier. But do please put the QR code up one more time, Jeremy. So that folks can follow this excellent work. You know what? I saw that question. Do you guys want to take that one? I know we got Dr. C.H.E.A.P. If you want to, I know that's not cardiology or diabetes, but what can be done for allergies and a cough?
Well, you need to improve. I mean, the beauty of lifestyle medicine is a holistic approach to health. And allergy is due to dysfunction of our immune system. And then our lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, improve our immune system to fight allergy. And this is one of the best way to improve your immune system to minimize allergy. And cough could be part of the allergy. It could be from other infectious or inflammatory conditions. And these are all associated with immune system dysfunction. And so what we're doing to improve our blood sugar to prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes, it in fact would have all kinds of health problems, including allergy, as well as mental dysfunction, or prevent Alzheimer's disease, etc.
So immediately, immediate remedy if they are struggling currently right now, definitely I would highly recommend them to do the steam inhalation with the eucalyptus. And then they can also do cough. We also soak the onion, cut it and just soak it in the honey and just leave it for 2 days or so, and then take the syrup. Yeah, that really helps as well with the cough, so that they can actually do. And one other question I saw also for type 1 diabetes, definitely these things they can definitely follow, but there are a few other aspects that need to be focused. And we have seen when people that are type 1 diabetes going through the program, they have a less synthetic insulin that they need to take. And there is many things that they can do. Yeah, so I would highly recommend. But one of the key aspects in diabetes is going like 10 to 15 minutes after every meal, you just walk. That is equivalent to taking like several units of insulin. So I highly encourage anybody. It is called a digestive walk, and especially for diabetes, if you can able to go 10 to 15 minutes after every meal, that is equal to taking insulin.
That's an amazing insight. That one right there is worth the price of admission. Jeremy, can you go to the person before that who asked the question that this Black's Tropical Homestead is answering? And it is, I'm type 2 and have tinnitus or tinnitus, very hard to sleep. I need the sounds to fall asleep. Will melatonin help? There it is. Most of the time I don't go to sleep until 2 a.m. or after. So Janelle is wondering if melatonin would be helpful in her case.
Definitely that can help, but I think the problem is the pain and the things that is actually needs to be handled with different hydrotherapy and few other treatments that they can actually do that can prevent. I think the melatonin is not just the solution, but the thing is there are a few other things that they need to do to at least help ease the situation before the bedtime itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and reversing the type 2 diabetes is going to be helping with that, because you're going to find yourself with better brain function, energy, and I don't know if that helps resolve tinnitus. And how is that pronounced? Barbara O'Neill and I had this back and forth a few weeks ago, because she's like, it's tinnitus in Australia. And I called it tinnitus for years in my media seminars, because it's about, the ringing in the ears and the loud music that people get when they're overusing media. But do you want to comment on that aspect of it? Is that related to some of the lifestyle factors that you're bringing in here, where she could be helped or others could be helped with that condition also?
But I mean, there are a few things that can be done. Maybe in the short time, it may be difficult. I mean, there are some onion poultices. That they can do, either heat in the oven, and they can actually do those things. But I'm afraid to tell some of the remedies without properly having the opportunity to understand and also to see the procedure. And I don't want them to do just because they're watching online. I don't want to do anything just wrong and just get into problems. So please feel free to reach out to us and book a consultation. It's not about joining the program or anything. Book a free consultation also with us, and we would be happy to help you. We are here to help you.
Folks, work on your posture. I'm working on it because I've been a teacher for 20 plus years, and oftentimes I'm coming forward toward my students, and I'm working on that. And when you do your digestion walk, not just for blood sugar, but for many health benefits, lower stress and so on, have your head erect, your shoulders back, your back straight. If we're coming forward or we're always like this on our devices, that's going to not help with digestion, because it's crunching up our stomach, our digestive organs. So that was one person was asking how long for a digestion walk. And Joshua, you said just even 10 minutes is a whole lot better than nothing, right? I mean, if you can only do it for 5, that's better than 0, right? But 10 to 15 is ideal.
Yes, 10 to 15 is ideal. And that is not necessarily a walk just with our phone or with so you just need to, it needs to be a just brisk walk, just a heads up straight, and just walk with a firm, and not slowly and just casual thing.
Yeah. You're not trying to walk 5 miles an hour and get yourself a side ache, but you want to be moving. The sub side ache speed for each person appropriately applied. Last thoughts, guys. We gotta say bye to folks, but Dr. C.H.E.A.P, what do you want to leave people with?
Well, it's consistency and discipline. Because it's easy to get into a program and get out of it because of old habits. And so you need to make a resolution, a decision that is long-lasting in order to have this long-term health effects.
Absolutely. Joshua, what do you want to leave our listeners with?
So definitely, I would say that whatever you are convicted of, just start something small and something simple, but something soon. So this is just they can implement something immediately, one thing that they learned today, just one thing, just implement and see the difference, and then you will be encouraged to do more. But just start with something, one at least today, whatever you have learned. It could be just taking more of fruits and vegetables, or it could be just going for a walk after a meal, or anything like that, right? So I just want to
Excellent. Something simple, something small, but something soon. Start today, folks. Thanks for joining us for an enlightening conversation on type 2 diabetes. And we'll see you all on our next episode of LSR Live. We're going to talk to Mitchell Hagen from Country Life about healthy lifestyle products. See you on Wednesday, February 19th. As always, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. I'm your host, Scott Ritzema, and we appreciate every single one of you. We'll see you next time on LSR Live.